everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Vlogmas Day 11. So if you're new around here, we are doing Vlogmas with a twist. We are doing a Disney tip for traveling around to Disney parks around the world every single day in December. Usually we talk about tips for a specific park, but today we're going to be talking about a generic generic tip, which is what shoes or recommended shoes to wear when you visit Disney parks. So let's go. So those of you who have been to Disney parks before would know a day at a Disney park is a very, very tiring affair. When I go to Disney, I tend to do somewhere between 18 and 26,000 steps. Usually I have a Fitbit on, and so I measure how many steps I do, and it's usually somewhere around the 22,000 step mark. So 22,000 steps is a lot of steps to do in a day for anyone. Even if you're super fit, it's a lot of steps to do in a day. It will take it out of you and it does make you super tired. Now obviously when you're super tired, your legs start to ache and you want to start to sit down a little bit more later on into the afternoon and in the evening. But what makes the experience a lot worse is when your feet hurt. Generally, a lot of people can walk a lot of steps in a day, even when their legs hurt, but when your feet hurt, usually you have to stop. It's like one of those things, right? It's like your legs ache, fine, I can go a little bit more as long as we sit down every so often, but if your feet hurt, if they've got blisters, if they're sore, then at some point you just top out and go, I'm sorry, I have to stop right now. Also, generally, it can ruin your time. Your feet hurting at a Disney park could ruin your experience of being there because you're just standing there in pain all the time. So when I go to Disney parks, I'm really, really cautious to make sure that I'm wearing the right kind of footwear because I want to enjoy my day and I don't want to be thinking about my feet. I want to just go for it. I want to see as much as I possibly can, and I just want everything that I'm wearing and doing to just be working. So I'm going to talk about the shoes that I like to wear when I go to Disney parks. Now you'll notice that a lot of them are going to be a variation on the same thing, but I've got a few other good choices as well. And I'm sorry guys, this is largely targeted at women, but actually my favorite shoe that I'm going to talk about, they do a lot of guy versions as well. So maybe, actually, do you know what? I think it's all pretty unisex. No, it's all pretty unisex. Guys, welcome. It's all unisex. Let's go. Now I'm going to be talking about shoes that are really good for parks in hot weather, although some of these shoes can be used for parks in other times of the years as well. Probably not those that get heavy winter, such as Tokyo and Paris tends to get a bit cold as well. And I'm going to leave my favourite shoes to the end. First of all, we're going to talk about trainers and flip-flops. So, hold. Ta-da! I'm sorry these are a little bit dirty, like really dirty, but these are my favourite pair of trainers at the moment. These are On Cloud running shoes, and I got these because they were sort of like the, you know, black trainery shoe that's a bit like the Nike ones. Sorry, they're really, really worn. Let's put them away. But that's a great running shoe slash trainer, and it's incredibly lightweight, very, very airy, and because it's just kind of plain black and white, it tends to match with most clothes, and it's very, very versatile. Before we move on to my favorite, let's talk about flip-flops. Lots of people like flip-flops. I am not one of those people. I basically wear flip-flops when it's an absolute necessity, and when I was planning for my Walt Disney World trip about 18 months ago, I bought a pair of flip-flops because they were heavily recommended by the two people which run the Disney Tourist blog, and it's a couple who run it, and the woman there, she always wears these flip-flops and absolutely loves them, so I bought a pair. And when the weather was so hot in Florida, I did switch to using these flip-flops for a couple of days just to take the heat off my feet, and it's these ones here. Sorry, again, a little bit warm, but these are the, I have to remember the name, these are the Olukai Ohana sandal, and they're the women's version. I think they do men's as well. And they're only purchasable in the US on the US Amazon store, so I actually bought them on the US Amazon store and had them shipped to the hotel that we were staying in. But they're molded and they're incredibly spongy, because this sort of bit that sits in between the toe is very flexible. I didn't find that hurt at all. So these were my absolute favorite flip-flops to wear. If I went back to another Disney park, I would take these, and these would be the ones that I would choose. I have one other pair of flip-flops which I take with me, and the reason why I take these as well is I do the Adam Hatton trick for when it rains. So let me explain. Some of you guys probably watch Adam Hatton's vlogs. He does amazing vlogs about Walt Disney World. He lives in Walt Disney World at the moment doing the Disney CRP. when it rains, he switches his shoes that he's wearing, which are usually trainers, and he has quite a nice collection of trainers. Or like trainers sneakers, I don't know, they're kind of like Vans and Converse-y style things. Anyway, don't know all the names of all the shoes. But he will take those off and switch on a pair of flip-flops, because when it rains, he doesn't mind if his flip-flops get wet and if his feet get wet when it rains. Then when the rain stops, he puts those flip-flops in a plastic bag back in his bag and puts on his nice clean dry shoes that he took off just before it started raining. So I have this pair of Havenias. Oh, sorry, you guys are gonna have to correct my pronunciation, but they're the standard flip-flops Havenias that you get from Office here in the UK, and I just got a navy blue pair. I have rather large feet, they're size 6.5, 7, but these are small enough for me to fit in my backpack. They're light enough, and also they're very, very spongy. If something ever happened to the shoes that I was wearing, it's very easy for me to stick these on and be very comfortable around the park. So those are the flip-flops I like. Now for my absolute favorite pair of shoes. This is not sponsored, although it might feel like it is in the next few moments. My absolute favourite pair of shoes to wear around the park, without a doubt, are Tom's. I love them so much. Tom's shoes, I think they're a UK brand, I think. But they've become so famous recently that I've seen them at being sold inside of Disney parks and Walt Disney World. They were selling them at Animal Kingdom last time I was there. And they were also selling them in Shanghai Disney. Tom's have the store inside of Disneytown at Shanghai Disney. I think they realised that people really like to wear them around the parks, and so they've done sort of different styles to sell within the parks, and people whose feet are hurting, they can go to one of the stores inside of the park and then buy them. I think they do some good business out of that. Oh look, they match the top I'm wearing at the moment. How convenient. I really, really love them, and not just because they're super comfy. So actually, let's talk about comfort first. Tom's a very, very simple shoe. It's basically just a piece of foam and with a canvas overlay surround, I don't really know, and they're incredibly flexible. The canvas is flexible, the foam is flexible, it's all very flexible. So this does a couple of things for you when you are walking around the parks. First of all, because you're walking on this spongy foam, every step that you take is generally nice and bouncy. Not as bouncy as it would be in the trainers I showed you earlier, but it's still nice and bouncy. The other thing is because this fabric is largely just a piece of, sort of flexible fabricy canvasy stuff, they move with your feet. So, they don't really rub and they don't really hurt, and they don't really leave blisters. So I know some people don't feel like they are the, best looking shoe that you could wear when you go to Disney World. Or any of the Disney parks, especially if you're somebody who likes to dress quite, nicely in Disney parks. But I wear my Toms with a lot of my dresses, so I pair Toms with the dresses. So you guys can probably see my Minnie Mouse dress there, the red one. That I wear these with the red Toms. So I wear that dress with the red Toms. So yeah, I mean, I could find better shoes to go with that dress, but when I'm walking 22,000 steps in a day, they'll do quite nicely. In my Disneyland Paris trip, I wore the spotty ones, which are sort of like rose gold spotty. I love these. I feel like these are kind of my classiest ones, although they look a little bit dirty now. But I like those with jeans and a cardigan. And I'll show you. Sorry, this whole collection gets a bit ridiculous. I really do love Toms for Disney parks. This is my Animal Kingdom pair. You can see. I usually pair them with a black play suit. And finally, one more pair that I wanted to show you guys, and I'm taking all the plastic wrappers off of them because they live in a drawer underneath my bed in plastic wrappers. And sorry, this one's still got talcum powder in it. But these are my sort of fancy lace ones, which if I do want to look a little bit more dressed up, these would be the ones that I would wear. So that's it for my favourite shoes that I wear in Disney parks. Yeah, mostly Toms, a mixture of some trainers every so often, and then flip-flops for when it gets really, really hot. But generally, I've always been able to walk and walk and walk, and I think looking after your feet in Disney parks is probably a good idea. You do want to maximise your time, and if you're able to keep your feet feeling nice and comfy, then you'll be able to get your most out of your day. So that's it for what is this? I want to say weekly vlog again. Vlogmas 11. Not sure what we're doing for Vlogmas 12. We'll see, won't we? It'll be a surprise. Oh, and if you guys were looking forward to the Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom Vlogmas today, we're going to save that for a few days' time for me to gather as much information as possible to make it worthwhile. Probably for Vlogmas 14, something like that. So anyway, I'll see you for Vlogmas 12 tomorrow. Okay, bye everyone. See ya.